Hey guys, it's been a long time, I know, but are you guys ready for the book from 1749? The general chronological history of the air, weather, seasons, meteors, the sundry places in different times, more particularly for the space of 250 years. Guys, this is the destruction of Tartaria. This is the Mudflood. Here's the proof. Greetings and welcome, my brothers and sisters of Tartaria. Welcome to Quest for Tartaria. I know it's been a really long time, but guys, I've got a lot of stuff that I need to show you. We're going to blow the top off this. We've already proven Tartaria exists. We already proven the origin. And yeah, I mean, if you guys miss me, send me a holler in the comments. Alright guys, let's dive in. Alright, check out our new map. I'll leave it in the description. Our story starts right here. So this is an upside down map. This is actually a map of Tartaria. It's actually a very cool map, guys. 1430. You can see all the Tartarian stuff. There was a lot of cities. I mean, we're talking about billions of people right here. All these cities. And I mean, just amazing. I'll do a whole video on looking over this map and reading places and such. But our story is going to start right here. See Italy. Then we got Hungary. Got Bosnia, like the Bosnian pyramids and stuff, right? And then starting in the Vienna area right here along the Danube, it says here. But this is where the plague started in 1711. 12, 13. Check it out. Alright, it says right here. In Lower Hungary, the winter was rigorous. So, 1711. It was rigorous enough that pustules, which is, see this F is actually an S. Pustules are like the boils that come off of like plague victims and stuff. You know, they're all pussy. So, I'll call them pusses. Affected many, but chiefly children. The second and third day, they were convulsed, so they were convulsing and died the fifth and seventh day. So they're going into seizures on the second and third day. When dead, their hands, feet, and back were jet black. The lungs and livers of some that were opened were full of black spots. The spring was too dry. April 25th. Two parlions, or how do you say that? Parlions, or circles about the sun. So there's circles about the sun. That's interesting, huh? May was excessive hot with thunder and lightning. June, at first very cold and rainy, then very hot, and swarms of insects. Smallpox and measles reigned. Many periods, which is the plague, but few separated. The plague in Copenhagen, which cut off most of the common people. Okay, so let's go back up here real quick. So we got a plague in 1711. It was winter. You know, this is when they were seeing the plague. Children are dying. As it says, okay, and spring was too dry. April 25th. Two circles in the sky around the sun, right? May was excessively hot, thunder and lightning. June was very cold and rainy, then very hot, then swarms of insects. Smallpox and measles, and the plague. So, plague the common people. So, October 7th, terrible tempests and thunder and lightning in Devonshire. So if you guys know where these places are, that would be great. I'm going to leave the map. If you guys can even do your own videos and show all this stuff. In the summer broke out the plague among the cattle, which came from Hungary, traveled towards the Danube, which is that river, through Germany and Italy, carried off whole herds. So that plague is traveling through that river so that's how they spread it. They spread it through the river, and it's hitting the cattle, and then it's going through Germany and Italy now, and that's where you'll see that the Danube River that's where it goes, and carried off whole herds, cleared several corners of those countries, not from any fault either from the food or the air, but from a mere contagion brought from the country with them, which traveled as far as they say, and spread from their saliva. Excuse me, I'm such a retard. Spread from their saliva. Wherever they licked the grass, laid down with their mouths, or came near their other cattle, from their contagion, effluvia, interesting, and putrefaction of the bodies, the dead bodies infecting their stomachs and intestines, throwing the whole nervous system into convulsions and inflaming the blood for their mouths, stomachs, and intestines were inflamed, their dung purulent matter, so that the disease was a malignant, contagious dysentery. Some few poor people ate the flesh of, of course, the cows, but if the dogs ate of it, they died the same day. So, I mean, look at this. It's a clear attack on the cattle and everything, the people, the plagues. Some say, oh, it's natural. Well, you'll see for the rest of this book, there's obviously things being spread. And I assure you, the diseases of today and this and that have been engineered, just like they've always been, because we're actually living in a very high-tech world, and we are only allowed to see little bits of our technology that is really out there, because the royalty, own all this shit. So, all right, disease, flesh, dogs eat it the same day. Osberg, let's say, published on this dreadful, violent contagion, the black cattle, which, like the fire, increased and spread, nor could human art quench it, so it couldn't be stopped. And first began, okay, simple, and then they'll get into things they were doing to stop the spread. They put a rail around this neck, and it wasn't, it hadn't died. So you guys can look into, more of this and such. But yeah, fevers are spreading. Proceeding, okay, dead cattle, more dead cattle. Let's go to, 1711 still. We're just going to skim through. You guys can read it all in detail if you'd like. 1711 still. Let's see, because it'll start changing dates here. All right, and this is talking about treatment of the cows. The plague began in July this year in Copenhagen. It spread to the beginning of September. Then disease to the end of the year, or decreased to the end of the year, excuse me. Okay, there were about 60,000 souls in the city when it began. They died, about 25,000 of them died. Okay, so there were about 60,000 souls in the city, and then 25,000 died, especially the poor people, because they weren't taking care of themselves. And yeah, the poor people sleeping with the dead bodies in the same beds and this and that, spreading the disease. They call them the foolish and this and that. All right, and then in Lower Hungary, all January, a few days. So this is 1712. In Lower Hungary, all January, a few days except the cold frost, the snow 9 feet deep. Look at that, guys. So the next year, the snow's 9 feet deep. February began blisterous and rest temperate. Middle of March, stormy and snowy, and ending with rain, thunder and rain. April, rainy with a notable earthquake. Earthquakes are starting, guys. 1712. Many rainy and great floods. In May began a fever with continual hot fits in the first 3 days. The fourth, it remitted. The fifth, one at night and another in the morning. The sixth, 2 fits. The eighth, a regular Tartarian, whatever that is, and so continued 3 fits. Then the first hot fit returned and landed 3 days, remitted 24 hours and 2 fits in a day as before. Then a true Tartarian. Okay. So anyway, let's see. In June and July, the plague of infects, chiefly serpents, which did great harm both to man and beast. Serpents, huh? A plague of serpents. You guys catch that? In June and July was a plague of insects, chiefly serpents, which did great harm both to man and beast from some certain spring to stated hours of the day. Sprung up. You know, guys, oh my gosh. I have this theory. In Revelation 2, it says that Apollyon, the beast, has been here before, and then he's killed, and then he comes back. And we know that's in CERN, but we found out that Antipas was martyred in Revelation 2, in the where Satan has his throne, and that's actually in Turkey. So, yeah, the Temple of Apollyon in Turkey. I'll show you later. And he had been put to death right in the Temple of Apollyon, the Temple of Apollyon. But you guys remember Revelation, Apollyon is the Antichrist that comes from the bottomless pit. Well, what if Apollyon was alive at this time, spreading these serpents and these friggin' plagues and all this other stuff into the Tartarians? I mean, like, because the Tartarians get hit by so many things. They get hit by meteors, they get hit by plagues, they get hit by serpents, they're getting hit by all kinds of stuff, guys. They're getting hit by the Mudflood, which is the earthquakes, the liquefactions, the flooding. There's actual rain and flooding and stuff too. Okay, Temple of Apollo, Temple of Apollyon. So we got one in the UK. We actually have a wall of the Temple of Apollyon in France. Happens to be precariously close to Geneva. We got some more Napoleon temples in Chechnya. I think I said that right. Let's see. I mean, look at all these guys. There's a lot of temples of Apollo, but there are some that are Apollyon, which is very interesting. Ancient temple of Apollyon, Apollyon's temple, right here. Makes me wonder, are they all the same, or did is Apollyon the Apollyon temples come later? Like Apollo comes first, then Apollyon, then Apollyon the Destroyer. Let's see, more temples of Apollyon right here in Tunisia. And of course, I think that's ancient Carthage, actually, guys. Forgive me if I mispronounce stuff. I'm not real good at reading. Let's see. I read a lot of books, don't get me wrong. Just my reading comprehension sucks. Okay. And then back over here. Okay, good. Please come back. Okay. So we want to see where these are. Here's that Edifice de Temple de Apollyon. And Geneva's right there. Boom, there's a Temple of Apollyon really precariously close to Geneva. So I found out I'm actually wrong about the martyr in the Temple of Apollyon. It wasn't in Geneva, actually. It was in Turkey. There was apparently it all came from this Mormon researcher guy, and I found his website. And then he had put it on Wikipedia and stuff, and then they took it off. But I looked at, I still gleaned it, see if there was any information that he found that I could find useful. But these ancient temples of Apollyon, the Destroyer, could be over here. But one interesting question is, why do they have Shiva the Destroyer outside of CERN? And CERN is the key to the bottomless pit, right? So, maybe they're one and the same, or maybe they're going to merge, become a superpower. Yeah, pretty interesting, guys. Now is it gonna make it go away? It starts to hide them after a while. It kind of sucks when it does that. But at least we got it recorded. We got to see it. Usually it only shows like one or two, but there's a lot of temples out there. We can click them here, and you guys can look at them. Ancient Temple of Apollyon and stuff. Yeah, crazy stuff, guys. Makes you wonder. Let's see. Let's go to Hungary, where the outbreak of the plague, and in Vienna, right here, like what we said in our story. There was. Let's see if we can search. Let's see if we can search in this area. Yeah, because Chechnya, or whatever how you pronounce that, has two actually. It's not gonna let me. At least let me search here. All right, here it is. One next to Vienna by that the Danube River. By the Danube River. Danube, see, but yeah, that's where the plague kept spreading. And the temple's right there. In all my searching, I found like 8 temples of Apollyon, and these programs keep on erasing the temples and making it hard for me to find them. And then if I tried searching it with the program itself, it doesn't want to find it. And then there's this one. Let's take a look. Close to ground zero. So, okay. Yeah. What did that? Gee. Cannonball? Gee. That's great. Okay. What did Joe find there? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Zoom out. Very interesting. Very good condition. The construction doesn't look that old, guys. Did you notice that? That does not look very old. That's odd. You know, most of the time it looks really old. Interesting, the plot thickens. Interesting. Not very old temple. Not very old temple of Apollyon. Very interesting. Yeah. Just interesting. I was like, what if these temples are catalysts in little areas where they're spreading the plague? Dun dun dun. But the fact that it doesn't look very old. And I mean, it could be redone, but it looks like it's very recently redone. Anyway. All right. So continuing, stinking blood. Just like okay, sulfur, rubic, cinnabar with some. Okay, they're doing some more of this stuff. All right. This month, the above plague of the cattle increased, breaking out in white pusses. With panting of breath and harvest, there were great floods. Audiobook, the air, not excessively cold, was very changeable with east and south wind prevailing most. The first clear and cold with often frost and snow. Last cloudy and wet. In the end of July came great rains. All right, so we're seeing these great rains. Not just rains, great rains. July. August 6th, clear and excessively hot weather, but in the end, rains fall made the air cooler, but the heat quickly returned in summer, intermits with bright. August, okay. Then, all right. Then a fever invaded all ages and sexes, though it began with adults. The fever shiverings followed by heat and pain with the head, exceeded by watchings and by also see they're getting attacked again. I mean, there's just so much going on, guys. One thing after another. I feel really, really awful for these people. I mean, when you really think about it, they're watching their children even die and this and that. You know, this is just a book, but this actually happened. There was real people dying, and suffering, and just, oh my gosh. So it raged more in the country than in the city and killed very many. The several places it fell into the cattle and the wild beasts and the swine. Grief and geese and the turkeys continued to the end of July. There arose mostly in the groins some sores, swelling, spread further, killed them. Stinging of hornets. Now look at this. There's like some great sized hornets, if I remember right. Either killed by the sting of the hornets which swarmed this year and were uncommonly large, or from the contagious. So like, look at this. These are like the Egyptian plagues hitting these people. That's what I'm saying, guys. What if Apollyon was alive? What if Apollyon is behind the destruction of Tartaria? I was talking to my wife about it, and I was like, look, well, why is he dead now, right? Well, he's dead now. He's in the bottomless pit. He's in the abyss. I mean, what if this dude had a human body and, he's possessed by the devil himself, the serpent, and he's doing all this crazy stuff? What if something or somebody killed him? An angel or some advanced weapon? Hail Mary shot by the Tartarians? Who knows? Something. But I know this is just a theory, but it's pretty interesting. It's the only thing I can really come up with, guys. It's the only thing I can really come up with how all this was happening. Besides advanced ancient machinery, like the Madrid earthquakes. There's a rumor that the ground zero for the Madrid earthquakes used to have ancient pyramids there. I don't have the information anymore, guys. I should have saved it. Never thought I would actually use it in this kind of stuff, but it's all kind of adding up. Caused the Mississippi to flow backwards. That was in somewhere between 1811 through 1816. They had a lot of stuff going on then too. But anyway, so like 100-year anniversary for all this stuff happening, if you look at it.
The earthquakes. The Madrid earthquakes were the biggest earthquakes in American history. They occurred in central Mississippi Valley. This is the official story, but were felt as far away as New York City, Boston, Montreal, and blah, blah, blah. All right? So it rang church bells in Boston. From December 16th, 1811 through March 12th, there were a series of 6,000 to 10,000 earthquakes. So what I just showed you, and how that big, huge lake up north, or sea, whatever you want to call it. I'm assuming sea because of all the seashells that are found everywhere. That and even the Great Lakes changed, like Hudson Bay area and all that. It was all different. There was another bay to the west of Hudson Bay that was almost the same size. So look, the 6,000 to 10,000 earthquakes. So
big credit to John Levy here. He's helping educate me. He's got this. And here you can see all his work he's done recently. Ancient Modern Tech, San Francisco Reset. I mean, this is all just great information we need to glean from here. Now, how many of you have heard of Napoleon's Comets? So this is just I'm learning about as well. It's a character by Thomas Rollinson from 1807 showing John Bull representing England looking on a comet and trained Napoleon. It goes back 200 years, the Napoleonic era of the early 18th century, where they had two great comets that appeared 4 years apart, which was during a time of the Great Conflict. And there's so much going on at this time. We talked about the War of 1812, Napoleon's War, the battle for the United States, the U.S. versus England, battle of 1812, 1811. Well, here, look at this, folks. The year 1811 started off with an amazing sight. one not many humans are, quote, lucky enough to see in their lifetimes. Remember that word, lucky. The Great Comet of 1811 was first spotted on March, season of sacrifice, 1811, and intensity increased December 1811. Get it? 9/11. Some recordings show it had tails 25 degrees long and a head 50% larger than the sun. Okay, given the heliocentric measurement, it's huge. Okay, so the comet appears to some observers to fade, perform frightening acrobatics, and split into two. This could be part of the meme they're putting in the crop circles, which are radio frequency lasers. They just imprint into the ground. We know that now. So the comets were entitled in amazing entities. This is where it gets interesting. Unfortunately for those in the New Madrid, Arkansas in December 1811, I am not convinced this was a comet made of ordinary matter. Let's just call him the devil for now. A massive New Madrid earthquake began in December 1811 and continued through the spring of 1812. The comet appeared to leave in 1812, although there is some uncertainty as whether it really left entirely. In 1893, Norbert Hertz reported what seems to be evidence of significant perturbation to the orbit of the Great Comet. So he had working under 984 observations published monthly about this great comet that came into existence in 1811, developed a tail 100 million miles long. How do they measure that? So this is as Napoleon was marching into Russia with his 700,000 strong army. So is this Napoleon going up to take over the great Tartarian Empire with his 700,000 strong men? Is that what was really happening? Well, at the same time, there's these things going in the sky we'll get into a little bit more, which created a primordial dark matter that's thought to exist. By early 1812s, the Earth's steady state spiraled into 7 years of major climate disruption, including 1816's, quote, the year without a summer, we'll get into in a minute. So also large volcanic eruptions during that same time, very large. 1812 in the Caribbean, 1812 in Indonesia, 1813 Japan, 1814 the Philippines. These are large scale eruptions. These are over 6.5 on the Richter scale, folks. These are large ones. And we had a huge one, Mount Tambora eruption in the islands of the Dutch Indies, and it goes on. The unusual climate aberrations of 1816 had the greatest effect on the northeastern United States, Atlantic Canada, and parts of Western Europe. Seismic events going on everywhere, folks, and we'll get into that. And also here, let me bring another attention, there were tsunamis. This is off the coast of California, which may have created the end of the island of California. Is kind of my point here, is that research I'm doing was trying to find out when California became an island. It looks like it started 1812, and all these cataclysmic events and all these stories of world wars around the world were all taking place at the exact same time. Well, check this out. A tsunami is a series of waves most commonly used by an earthquake beneath the seafloor, and we just showed all these massive earthquakes can travel at 700, 600 miles an hour. Since 1812, the California coast has had 14 tsunamis with waves 3 to 6 feet. The channels were hit by a big tsunami in the early 1800s. More evidence. So let's get into the year without a summer. This is the font of all knowledge, Wikipedia, but you still learn stuff from this. You take what you can, glean what you want, use your discernment and judgment to take what's relative. So they're suggesting that it was a volcanic event that happened in 1815. Now remember, they're talking about the comets of 1811 before the Napoleon comet, which could have been Black Rahu. It could have been the black sun that took over and caused these anomalies, or these changes, mass changes at this one period of time. And we don't hear about this stuff in history. So the great eruption of Mount Tambora in the East Indies is blamed for this year without summer, though it's not been proven in any way. In the spring of summer of 1816, a persistent dry fog was observed in the parts of eastern United States. The fog reddened and dimmed the sun, such that sunspots were visible to the naked eye. Neither wind nor rainfall dispersed the fog. It has been characterized as stratospheric sulfate aerosol veil. Now, what are we seeing over here in California after these fires up in Paradise here in Sacramento? I'm calling it chem fog. We had 8 days in a row that blanketed the entire Northern California right after the alleged campfires that spread all the way across the entire Northern California. It was over 3,000 feet thick when I flew through it. So this could be the same dry fog. Maybe they're planning another one of these events. The real problem may lay in the weather's effect on crops and thus on the supply of food and firewood. Got food, folks? On June 6th, snow fell in Albany, New York, Dennisville, Maine, Cape May, New Jersey. Frost was reported 5 nights in a row in late June, causing extensive crop damage. This is in New Lebanon, New York, May 1816. All was frozen. The hills were barren like winter. Temperatures went below freezing almost every day in May. The ground froze on June 9th. June 12th, the Shakers had to replant crops. June 7th, it was so cold, everything had stopped growing. They had frost again on August 23rd, as did much of the upper Northeast. It was so cold that crops were cut down, even to freezing to their roots. Bread became scarce. People were obliged to rely on their own resources. Listen up, people. Own resources to rely on upon others in their immediate locality. Look, touch, and feel communities, folks. Build your community where you live. Get your food supplies. Find your tribe. In July and August, lake and river ice was observed as far south as northwestern Pennsylvania. Frost was reported as far south as Virginia on August 20th and 21st. Rapid, dramatic temperature swings were common. Listen to this. With temperatures sometimes reverting from normal above normal temperatures as high as 95 degrees or 35 degrees Celsius to near freezing within hours. Within hours. Oh, you never heard about any of this? Why? Thomas Jefferson retired from the presidency in Monticello and sustained crop failures that further sent him into debt. Sidebar here, all of Thomas's books were taken by the Congress because he owed so much money, and that's how the Library of Congress was founded, with Thomas Jefferson's library. All right, so it's now in the middle of July. We've not had anything properly called a summer. Easterly winds have prevailed for 3 months. The sun during that time has generally been obscured and the sky overcast with clouds. We have geoengineering doing that today, folks. The air has been damp and uncomfortable, yes it has, and frequently so chilling as to render the fireside a desirable retreat. Happened in Europe too. It was not just the United States. Low temperatures, heavy rains resulted in crop failures, famines. Britain, Ireland, families in Wales traveled long distances begging for food. Famine was present in North and Southwest Ireland following the failure of wheat, oat, and potato harvests. In Germany, the crisis was so severe, food prices rose sharply. Switzerland, summers of 1816 and 1817, folks. This wasn't just a one-year event or a one-off event. This went on. I mean, we talked about from 1811. We've got floods. We've got earthquakes. We've got comets or whatever, tsunamis. I mean, these were major upheaval events going on around the world. Let's move on. In Asia, in China, the cold weather killed trees, crops, even water buffalo in the north. Floods destroyed many remaining crops. Now note this is all in the north, up in the northern areas. The monsoon season was disrupted, resulting in overwhelming floods in the Yangtze Valley. In India, the delayed summer monsoon caused late torrential rains that aggravated the spread of cholera from a region near the Ganges in Bengal as far as Moscow. It went from India to Moscow, folks. And then the aberration of the Mount Tambora volcano, April 5th to 15th, 1815. And then the other large volcanic activities that went on, as we said, here in 1809, we had the Southern Pacific Ocean. Look at these volcanic activities. This is sulfate concentration, sorry. But look at these activities. 1809, 1812, the Caribbean, 1812, East Indies, 1830, Japan, 1814. As well, and they say the surface temperature caused a temporary drop in an average of about 1 degree Celsius. This was at the end of what they called the Little Ice Age. So huge, major upheavals. All right, so the premise is that in 1812, 1811, there was a great reset on the world. All the world maps, the ancient maps, are showing the world quite differently. than the maps of today. So is this when the Great Lie started, the Great Reset started of Earth, especially with California and the other areas, the Great Lakes, some of these others have gotten into. But here, listen to this. So this is the New Madrid earthquakes. Now remember, prior to this time, the island of California was called Nuevo California, or Alt California, like an alternative California. The New Madrid earthquakes were the biggest earthquakes in American history. They occurred in the central Mississippi Valley, but were felt as far away as New York, Boston, Montreal, and Washington. President Madison and his wife felt them in the White House. It happened in Missouri, and they felt it in the White House. Church bells rang in Boston. December 16th, 1811, again, December 12th, 9/11, March of 1812, there were over 2,000 earthquakes in the central Midwest, and between 6,000 to 10,000 earthquakes in the Bathiel of Missouri, where the New Madrid is located near the junction of the Ohio and Mississippi rivers. Now, what do we have there, folks? We have all the ancients. They have all their pyramids, their land pyramids there and whatnot, right there in the Mississippi rivers in Ohio. In the known history of the world, no other earthquakes have lasted so long or produced much evidence of damage as the New Madrid earthquakes. In known history, nothing like this has ever occurred to this extent. Think about that. 3 of the earthquakes are on the list of America's top earthquakes. December 16th, 1811, 8.1. Right? Secondary, January 23rd, 7.8. And on January 7th, 1812, as much as 8.8 magnitude. Now, to give you an idea, they're saying that the San Francisco earthquake is 7.9. To give you an idea of the numbers here, so you've got it equivalent to the San Francisco earthquakes, but I know that the 7.9 they're showing on the San Francisco earthquakes was really 6.7, 6.8 back when. The Mandela effect has taken over that as well. Not going to argue with anybody on it. I just know the number because I've studied the San Francisco earthquake extensively, and now the number says 7.9. All right, so moving on. So these huge earthquakes, how about the Mississippi running backwards? After the February 7th earthquake, boatmen reported the Mississippi actually ran backwards for several hours. The force of the land upheaval 15 miles south of New Madrid created Reelfoot Lake, drowned the inhabitants of an Indian village, and turned the river against itself to flow backwards. Yeah, round spinning ball, folks. Come on, hey, all you heliocentrics, how does that work? Water flowing backwards. Devastated thousands of acres of virgin forest and created 2 temporary waterfalls in the Mississippi. Can you say Ganges and Euphrates? Boatmen on flatboats survived the experience and lived to tell. After the general experience, more than 2,000 earthquakes in 5 months, people discovered most of the crevices opening up during an earthquake ran from north to south. And when the earth began moving, they would chop down trees in the east and west direction, holding on using the trees as a bridge. There were missing people who were most likely swallowed up by the earth. Some earthquake fissures were as long as 5 miles long. The world's largest sand boil was created by the New Madrid earthquake, 1.5 miles long by 136 acres, located in Missouri. The earthquake smog, the skies turned dark during the earthquakes, so dark that it lighted lamps didn't help. The air smelled bad and it was hard to breathe. It was speculated that the smog in 1800, containing dust particles caused by eruption of water into the cold air. So now they're bringing it on the earthquakes, causing the darkness. Sounds of distant thunder and loud explosions accompanied the earthquakes. Domestic animals became wild, and wild animals became tame. Snakes came out of the ground from hibernation. Flocks of ducks and geese landed near people. The earthquakes were preceded by the appearance of the Great Comet, which we talked about. The comet with an orbit of 3,065 years was called the Tecumseh Comet, or the Napoleon Comet, after a Shawnee Indian leader whose name meant shooting star. So as we get into Rahu, during this time, the governor of Indiana, worried about the prophet's popularity, had challenged him to produce a miracle. After the day of the, quote, black sun, now Nehru is the black sun that orbits around. We know the sun is a luminary, and the black sun is its binary sun, Rahu. The black sun, or Rahu, the brothers had no trouble attracting followers. A black sun was said to predict a future war. On September 17, 1811, there was another solar eclipse which was predicted by the prophet. The brothers of the operations was at Prophet's Town, located near the junction of Wabash and Tippecanoe rivers in northern Indiana. On December 16th, when the earthquakes began, Tecumseh was at the Shawnee and Delaware Indian villages near Cape Girardeau, 50 miles north of the epicenter of New Madrid. The earthquake continued as he traveled back to Prophet's Town, arriving on February 1812. His followers lost the Battle of Tippecanoe and they continued to fight during the War of 1812 between the United States and Great Britain. He was killed in Canada in 1830 and honored as one of the greatest Indian heroes both in the United States and Canada.
So, let's see. Hopefully I haven't missed anything. They're using garlic and vinegar for some of the treatments. That might be good to memorize, guys. I know if you, off the topic, if you cut up garlic and let it breathe on the counter for 15 minutes, it becomes an antibiotic, and you can use it in place of antibiotics. I have done this. I've even taken away tooth abscesses and things like that very quickly. So, garlic and vinegar, very powerful things if used right. Tumors, Britain in winter was a little short of the cold, frost, snow, north wind, 1709, hence the Gobson, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's see. Blood spitting droplets were very common, first three, okay. I noticed that every time they did bloodletting, like, every time they would bloodlet any of these people as some kind of remedy, those people would die. So I believe bloodletting was a possibly Catholic depopulation technique. They would just bleed these people out, I would believe. I know that sounds crazy. Okay, east wind, severe cold, threatening the fruits of the earth and the people's health. May, same stormy with every night rainy and some terrible thunder. June was more fetid with, or settled with the near and end summer weather. The summer was very inconsistent. Corn, lightning, and rain rendered quite barren. The useless in April, several fatal epilepsies, I guess. I'm just going to skim read real quick. Been 24 hours, blah, 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 blah. I want to keep going on what's been going on. You guys can read more into it. End of October is very good vintage. Okay, 1712. But most of the vines, so you got your olives, you've got your grapes were killed by frost, lightning, and blasting. All fruit was spotted and could not be kept from rotting. So the fruit was rotting, not a day. So this was in the end of October, 1712. So now, I mean, they're starving too. We've got a food crisis going on, it sounds like, from the rotten fruits and such. They're just getting hammered, guys. Lower Hungary left harvest very rainy and much thunder amid the foggy air in the middle of January. Southeast winds, hard, windy, cold. Wow, and days of rain. Let's just skim read. Right there. March 9th, which saw great snow. 10th to the 15th, a thaw and great floods with loss of much of the cattle and some people. So there was great floods. March 9th, okay, 10th, 15th, okay, so March 15th, great floods. So can you imagine March 9th, great snow, March 10th to the 15th, it thaws and great floods. So we're seeing rapid temperature differences. So we're going freezing and then melting and great floods. Freezing, melting, great floods. Just really read it, guys. Critical think a little bit when you're reading it. They throw all this stuff in here. I mean, just, not to diss anybody. I'm just saying, just really read thoroughly on what we're seeing. We're seeing snow on day 9, like great snow. And then we're seeing it melt on day 10. You see what I'm saying? Causing great floods. So that tells you that there's a thermal climb. More great rains. The 20th, great rains. 24th, excessively hot with terrible lightning and thunder. Guys, this is doomsday. This is absolutely doomsday, guys. Look at all this stuff going on. Destructive floods, July cold, August changed, just terrible rains blasting the corn of the vine. September, October, very cold, early snow. And February, just fevers, spotted fevers, fatal the 5th day with delirium. Geez, guys, black spots. Okay, so then the plague's back. And now the plague's back. And smallpox, vomiting, heat of the belly, dysentery, more stuff on the groin again. Just absolutely diarrhea. Involuntary discharging. Oh my gosh, these poor people. Man, the devil really hates God's children, huh? November, excessive cold, snow 4 feet deep, some few fever spots. Oh, another earthquake. Near Neoflat, a great earthquake, however you say it, Neostatic. Anyway, a great earthquake. But guys, look how in communication they are. They know when earthquakes are going on in different cities. They know everything that's going on. They aren't primitive, riding around horseback, going castle to castle like we're being taught. These guys know what's going on around them. Earthquakes December to the 12th, stormy temperature, fireball rainy to the end. So, this person who wrote this obviously may have been collecting all these histories and stuff like that, but also there's still the fact this is more than likely they're keeping good record, Osprey, okay, the air the same, also severe yet healthy in December, spotted fever. Just looking real quick. So this is 1714. Okay, we went a year. So fatal spotted fever during 1713, and all this crap's going on still. Vomitings and stuff. 1714. Irregular constituted year. So yeah, another irregular year, of course. Winter was terribly cold and dry. North wind, some little snow. Whole spring, summer harvest was one series of shifts and changes, even November and a half of December, which was arguably pleasant for season. Hence such, okay, prodigious floods. Okay, hence such. All right, hold on. The rest had everyday rain. Okay, so whole spring and summer harvest. Okay, one series of shifts and changes each November and the half of December, which was arguably pleasant, and then it had rain every day. Okay, since prodigious floods that neither town corns have ripened nor grafts cut down, dried to seed. Town in due time, moreover, was committed to the earth, either dried, rotted, or choked. So they're having food crises again. They're having flooding, and they've been flooding for the last few years, right? Talk about the mud floods. Well, why did the buildings sink? Why are they sinking? Well, we got all these floods, constant floods, and we probably have other big things and earthquakes. It sounds like, so that would be liquefaction too. So, continual diarrhea, dysentery, vomitings, 1714. Worms, smallpox, measles. Oh my gosh, guys. They're getting plagued again. Look. Just unbelievable, guys. Death to the cows. Gave little milk. Let's see. Wow. Just insanity. Look at that. 14 during the shift of the months that killed 5,418 cows and bulls and 439 calves. Oh wow. So right here, the Majesty is buying cattle, 405 a head, 105 a piece each, and the last, which amounted 6,774. Or is that a 1? 60. So it'd be 67,400 or 741, I guess. Besides which, the cowkeepers upon oath were losers, 24,500. Okay, so that's what it was. Well, that's kind of interesting. For which this Majesty granted the bill and brought it only the 6,278. Second, 6th day. Okay, anyway. But this is not the greatest care possible been taken to prevent the spread of the contagion. It must have made a terrible havoc of cattle over the nation. In Holland, it raged for 2 to 3 years and killed, look at that, guys, that was 300,000 cows, bulls, and oxen and bulls. So there's a contagion going on right now, guys, like biblical contagion. I mean, this is going on year after year after year. You know, I got a theory. You see, I'll go back to the Bible. In Revelation, you got Apollyon, right? And then there's another passage where it says that who was and is not and is to come, meaning this guy's has come to the earth multiple times. And then there's the other passage where it was like in the church of Antioch, and there was a martyr who was murdered, where Satan has his throne, right? And we find out, if you do a little Google searching, you find out that he was martyred in the temple of Apollyon. All right, guys. Revelation 2:13 in the Geneva. I know thy works and where thy dwellest, even where Satan's throne is, and thou keepest my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in the days when Antipas, my faithful martyr, was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. All right? I'll say it in simple English for all y'all. I know your deeds and where you live, even where Satan's throne is. Satan's throne, guys. And you keep my name and have not denied my faith, even in the days when Antipas, my faithful martyr, was slain among you, where Satan lives. So Satan's living in this place. Because let's go to New King James real quick, because it was interesting. All right, and I know your works, tribulations, and poverty, but you are rich, and I know the blasphemy of those that say, oh, that's 2:9. That's the Khazars. Excuse me, it's right here. Okay, I know your works and where you dwell, where Satan's throne is. You hold fast to my name and did not deny my faith, even in the days in which Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was killed among you, where Satan dwells. But yeah, there's that. Let me go to the next passage. All right, here at 2 Timothy 3:11, you see that we start having persecutions and afflictions, which came unto me at Antioch in Iconium and Lystra, which persecutions I suffered, but from them all the Lord delivered me. So he was delivered from these persecutions. So they're starting to persecute in Antioch. Let's see. Also in Antioch, it's where they were first called Christians. I'll just look at the highlight here. Acts 11:26 in the Geneva. And when he found him, he brought him to Antioch, and it came to pass that the whole year they were conversing with the church and taught much people, insomuch that the disciples were first called Christians in Antioch. So in Antioch. So this place Antioch, right? But what's interesting is, did it actually say Antioch? Even in the days of Antipas, followed by, just says where Satan dwelleth, and then everybody keeps saying Antioch. And I can't really seem to find real concrete proof. I know, like, the Catholic Church has their own little thing on the saint, and they say it's in. It starts with a P. Okay, right here, Pergamum. Okay, how was Saint Antipas of Pergamum killed? It was a wealthy, powerful, ancient city, Malaysia. So that's interesting, huh? It's in Turkey, right? I think we did see those temples of Apollyon in Turkey, right? And we go down to here. It's during the Roman Emperor Nero. John the Apostle ordained Antipas as bishop of the Pergamon, according to the Christian tradition, according to Eastern Orthodox beliefs, according to the commentary of the Apocalypse of blah, 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 blah. Okay, Revelation 2:13. As the passage reads, I know your works and where you reside, even you hold fast my name and have not denied my faith, even in the days when Antipas was a steadfast martyr among you, who was slain by Satan. The traditional narrative continues by stating that Antipas was put to death during the reign of Nero. So, traditional narrative, huh? See, where are they getting this traditional narrative? But anyway, Nero in 54 to 68 burned in a brazen bull-shaped altar. So he's burned to death in a bull-shaped altar in Apollyon's temple, guys. So So right here in Lyon, Geneva, Switzerland. Huh. That's conflicting, isn't it, guys? And burned in a nearby cemetery. St. Antipas and the Christian martyr and protector against toothaches, huh? Damn. So the holiday of the St. Antipas, which occurs on April 11th on the calendars of Eastern Christianity, is used to treat toothaches and dental problems. Interesting. Okay, so this is weird, guys. Okay, so you're telling me they went all the way from Turkey. So did they what? They captured him, brought him all the way to Geneva, Switzerland from Turkey, and then murdered him in a brazen bull at the Temple of Apollyon. I mean, is that the temple that's broken down? Is only a wall right now, just kind of northwest of Geneva. It is really interesting, isn't it, guys? See, that theory is coming back kind of hard, isn't it, guys? Isn't it? So he made, even though there was temples of Apollyon in Turkey, but it really doesn't matter which temple he was murdered in. But he was murdered, and he was thrown in a bowl, of course, symbol of Satan, right? And symbol of Apollyon, apparently the destroyer, right? So, yeah, you guys hear the X-Files music yet? All right, let's get. All right, here's another one on Antipas. It says here that he was martyred. Well, I guess I'll tell you a little bit of the story. They were accusing him. The pagans are accusing him, and he wouldn't renounce, Yeshua, Jesus, and they ended up burning him in a red-hot furnace with a bull. And according to the Orthodox, he was burned in the temple of Artemis. Oh, okay, so here, let's look at the temple of Artemis. Okay, here's the temple of Artemis. Yeah, it is very close to where he was, Patmos or whatever they call it. It's right here. He was living like in this area, and it makes sense the temple's there. But this temple supposedly was one of the wonders of the world, and well, something happened to it because all that's left is a pillar. So
this was once an ancient wonder of the world known as the Temple of Artemis, and that's all that's left.
And there you go. So, all right. So they're trying to say that he was martyred here. There's really nothing left. Was that the punishment of martyring him, or what, right? We'll look a little more into it. Dome buildings back there, castles, huh? Could these be the guys that destroyed it? Anyway, so those Tartarian buildings back there. Maybe Byzantine, but they still got their butts kicked by the Tartarians as well. You can see that on one of my other videos. So, let's look at the Temple of Apollyon instead. All right, so we'll just go Temple of... Okay, here we go. And see, they try to hide the temples of Apollyon. There we go. All right, and then we got an ancient temple of Apollyon if you just go this way. So, they could have taken him down the river or anything, taken him down this path, to lead him to the ancient temple of Apollyon, which to me makes more sense. Because our records and our history has been messed up, and so what's in history is it's been in that temple with only like a pillar. And then there's this temple, the Temple of Apollyon. Looks a little more put together. Is it gonna load? Oh, there it goes. Don't trip, man. So, that'd be pretty interesting. All right. I can imagine you get dragged to this temple because Apollyon the Destroyer, right? But I mean, all these things got just toasted. Big battles that take our world, right? So, look at that. I mean, pretty interesting. I mean, way more put together. Very ancient, but very put together. Oh, look at that. Statue right there, too. Come on, let's see the statue. Come on. Show us the statue. There we go. And what's that statue of, guys? It's pretty interesting. I want to see the statue. Alright. Can I get a close-up of the statue? Oh my. That's interesting. Somebody broke the heads off of these guys. The bridge. Huh. It's got a theater, you know. I really want a close-up of the statue, though. Show me the statue. Show me what's written on the statue. Come on. I want to see what's on the statue. Interesting. So no statue. Ancient Temple of Apollyon, no statue. Interesting. Well, we could look at the one over here, but I don't think they would have taken him this far. Another Apollyon's temple right here. Yeah, no, not as put together. Still got decent architecture, though. Look. Yeah. Look at that. It's all scraped up. Right on the coast. Wow. All those designs. Interesting. Apollyon's temple. Temples with an S, right? What? Anyway. Very crazy, guys. Very crazy. I think the other temple was a little more put together. The ancient temple looked a little more put together than this one. Except for these. That looks kind of looks a little more put together, don't it? And it's interesting because he was killed. I wonder if he was on the earth at the time, which he very well may have been. And of course, it's another reason why you would erase history, is because I believe I have this theory that he may have caused these plagues. You know, Tartaria, this holy empire gets annihilated, by Apollyon himself, right? And does he kill so much that he spurs on the wrath of the primal creator, as they've said in other documents I've read? Anyway, so I wonder if Apollyon was here. I wonder if the destruction of Tartaria was Apollyon, because look, we've got the Mudflood, right? The liquefaction, the constant flooding. We've got the plague. We got like literally crazy plague going on every year. We've got winter and the summer and all kinds of stuff like that. And it continued on to like even 1811 through 1816 with the Madrid events and all these other things, and the year without a summer and all that stuff. You guys could look that up. And Napoleon's comet. And then we got millions of meteor craters when we look at the surfaces of the coastline of Russia and of Siberia. So yeah, guys, the real question is, could Apollyon, the Antichrist, have been here? And after he killed so many and he depopulated the earth, could he have invoked the wrath of the angels and, they could have slayed him, and now he's in the abyss again? Because, as I said, it was and then is not. So he's slain and is to come. So anyway, going back to this, more sick stuff. They're talking about how they were trying to deal with it, head swelling sometimes with their bodies a day or two or more. They had a vast discharge of mucus matter from the nose. Their breath smelled offensive. Severe purging, sometimes bloody, of which they died. Some died in 3, others 5 to 6 days. Bulls the 8th or 10th day, they were very hot all the while, and so they had a temperature. And these were open the gallbladder, which much destined with too much green bile. If the gallbladder had too much green bile, and their glands were swollen. Let's see, vastly and obstructed, swelled and obstructed. Their livers were black. They had bags of chalky matter. The guts were they're purging from the lungs, inflamed. Several bladders are so that you got swelling on the outside of the lungs. The winter was not tolerable in Augsburg. Okay, and this is 1715. So the winter's not tolerable again. So they're not going to get any crops again. So the world's starving. I mean, no wonder Tartaria was beat down to the point where the satanic, the Church of Satan basically could come out from under the ground, maybe under the Vatican, right? The city underneath the Vatican, and they can come out. And even the Spanish Inquisition, the Spanish, and conquer, as they say, all these newfound lands, like, when they founded at this year. So this was founded at this year because they're finding it. They're finding these empty cities. They're finding all this stuff. And the ones that when they get a hold of these people, the survivors, who are it's now, an apocalypse, guys, they're killing them. They're saying, you convert over to our religion, which is Catholicism, or you die. You got the Spanish Inquisition sawing even Christians in half and all this other stuff. They're burning Bibles, they're burning literature, the destruction and decimation of our history, our religion. Okay, hold on to your seats. Daniel 7, we're going to start at verse 4. This is going to get crazy. The first was as a lion, and had eagle wings. I beheld till the wings therefore had plucked off, and it was lifted up from the earth and set upon its feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to him. So, there you go. There's Apollo right there, guys. Apollo, and he's given a man's heart. And he lives where? He was first as a lion. Look at this. Lion. And where did they say Antipas was killed? In Lyon, Geneva, Switzerland. Is it a secret? Lyon. Interesting, huh? It's maybe a coincidence, but it's a very odd one, And then the other beasts come, Other beasts, the second, the bear stood up upon it and had 3 ribs in its mouth. And that was interesting. That beast with the 3 ribs in its mouth that was devouring humanity. I had a dream about it. I'll have to tell you guys later. I had a dream about Tartarian and this big monstrous, like a hellhound, but it was like a bear. And it was eating people. It was really interesting. So I think it came after that. And then here we go. Let's go back down to the bottom. All right. These great beasts, which are four kings, shall arise out of the earth, and they shall take the kingdoms of the saints. Okay, listen to this. They shall take the kingdom of the saints, Tartaria, of the Most High, and possess the kingdom forever, even in ever and ever. Okay? After this, I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was so unlike all the others. Very fearful, those teeth were of bronze and nails of brass, which devoured, breaking to pieces, and stampled. But yeah, so they shall take the kingdoms of the saints, guys. Kingdoms of the saints. And the only time the saints conquered the whole world was with Tartaria. I beheld the same horn battle against the saints, so that the same horn, the last Antichrist, battled against the saints and prevailed against them until the ancient days came and the judgment of the saints of the Most High, and the time approached. The saints possessed the kingdom. So then the blue is when Yeshua comes back and gives the kingdom back to the saints. And he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom of the earth, which shall be unlike all the other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth. So they're going to devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it into pieces. That is, of course, the Catholic reign, and that is, of course, the children of the devil, the Khazarians, and everybody else, and apparently Lucifer himself again. And the 10 horns of the kingdom are 10 kings that shall rise, and the others shall rise after them, and they shall be unlike the first. And he shall subdue 3 kings, and shall speak words against the Most High, and shall consume the saints. So he's going to devour the saints of the Most High, and think that he may change times and laws. So look at that. Apollyon shows up, right? And he starts trying to change times and laws. Times is history. So he starts trying to change history and laws. Shall be given him into his hand until the time and times and double the time. So then he comes back in Revelation 3.5 years. You can see it in Revelation 11, 12, and 13. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy the earth to the end. Kingdom of the dominion and the greatest. So this guy also is a merging of Shiva and Apollyon, right? Apollo. So yeah, that's why the earth has never seen anybody like him. He's very powerful. And the greatest kingdom of the whole heaven shall give to the holy people of the Most High, whom kingdom of everlasting kingdom and all power shall serve and obey him. So that's when Christ has his 1,000-year reign, and the earth is given back to the saints. But you got the Rothschilds and everybody else, and then you've got some very compelling evidence of human alteration after that. They've made us smaller, they've made us weaker, they've made us dumber, and the reason why there's some proof when and I forgot if it was the Rockefeller or the Rothschilds or somebody, they had left a statement that humans are still too big. So that means we were bigger and still too smart and still too strong, which means that they've altered us. So, so yeah, guys, I've been detoxing with things like EDTA, garlic EDTA, look it up on Amazon. Garlic EDTA, it'll cleanse, vaxes, it'll cleanse, even the vax, it'll cleanse, toxic heavy metals, but make sure you're taking your copper, your zinc, and your iron and stuff and replenishing it, because it really works. Even gave me my memory back. So, yeah, garlic EDTA, guys. All right, so open your pineal gland, guys. So now I'm on a tangent, getting distracted, right? Little snow, April, east wind cleared the air through the seasons, changeable winds and rains. May, pleasant spring set in, continued still far in the June, from the middle of which a severe scorching sun and east wind. In July, a south wind with some showers. Sea of air continued until December 15th, so they're thinking they're getting some relief, right? So when it's continued brought in abundance. Okay. The smallpox, which had now been favorable 2 years, became confluent and mortal. So then they're getting hit by the smallpox. Then they have the present bad food. So they got bad food, right? Another more food crisis is going on, especially in lazarettos. Instead of scarlet purples, attending the last year's fevers. There's measles and rashes. Appear chiefly in black, and some roll up like the smallpox and then often vanish to the 14th day later. some miliary pustules, so pusses covered the whole body with an itch and small bladders. So swollen areas, like kind of like blisters full of clear water, which running on the skin scalded it like boiling water. Blisters. When these had continued some time, the patient died, being worn out with former illnesses, smallpox, measles. See, I swear, guys, it's Apollyon. It has to be. They're not, he's talked about in the Bible, guys, and he's not historically documented. They erase history when this dude shows up. This is the anti-world destroying, dude here. I mean, really, guys, because people are, machines and stuff. Okay, all right. So they have machines. Yeah, you can cloud see the weather and this and that, sure, but the earthquakes, millions of meteors. We're talking plagues that the CDC would be drooling over. They themselves are probably still trying to recreate, but they can't. And then like stuff that'll kill everything, animal, human. They've never been able to re-replicate this because I believe it's coming from something that humans can't replicate. So that's just a theory, but man, I'm sticking to it because the more I read, the more it seems like that's probably a plausible thing. Smallpox, which is sick, appeared to be very full, and it all seemed to go well on to the 12th day. And then scarf skin fell off in face and arms. Look at that. Your skin fell off in the face and arms, parted from the skin under it, and by laying hold of it at the fingers' ends, it came slipping off like a glove from the top of the shoulder down. They died the next day. Oh my gosh, guys. Come on. This is like hell on earth. This is like satanic. What's happening to these people, guys. Continue. There had not been death like this since Noah's flood, guys. Seriously, look at this. This sorted out short little malignity of the plague. It continued in June's, starring neither age or sex. So it's not sparing age or sex, women and children mostly. Measles appeared, spots disappeared, and the patient died. May very pleasant. Okay, so more smallpox and stuff, and I need to kind of skim through. They're using medicines. Okay, 1715, because we got a long way to go. Sweet wine. Okay, they're talking about how they're mixing it. Many showers in April. Okay, 17. March, headaches and smallpox were a pandemic. Okay, so Osberg over Europe was very great, severe, long. Okay, so they're saying like in March, and then it goes to the next year. What calendar is that, guys? So measles, sorts. Yeah, they're still getting plagued in 1716. They're still getting plagued. So this is just the killing, guys. This is just the depopulation. Caused by biblical plagues, caused by, I believe, Apollyon. Geez, guys, look at this. Wow, like, seriously. But the Lunge Barge, okay, they're still having problems with the stuff. More people are dying. I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep skimming. Okay, rains and floods. Here we go. Spring came, rains and floods again. So keep going. June is hot. All right, harvest began, much rain, clear weather. In December, general health in England froze many miles. Whole streets of booths were erected. Coaches driven, sports and divisions were used above the bridges. So hold on. In England in January, things were frozen many miles. Whole streets and booths were erected. Okay. Wild beasts forced out. Okay, Spain suffered greatly by it. Wild beasts forced out of the woods made strange ravage. So they're getting attacked by wild beasts. Most. Wow. Okay. And then London Bridge, a great way down, left only a small river of 10 to 12 feet over. Abundance of people walk safely on the bottom. In November, December, the weather was mild, open, dark. So they're having a drought there too. So over there's a drought. Are they pulling all the water from there, into those other areas? It's kind of like to flood them and stuff. Smallpox of a bad sort again. Skin's dry, hard, blood inflamed like that. Wow, more plague stuff, bleeding and vomiting, cooling. About the 14th day came to the crisis went off to turn the Tartarian. Okay, so smallpox. Let's see. Let's keep going. I mean, guys, look, it's still going. 1717. It's still going. Look at all this stuff. Pain in the knee without swelling and inflammation. They're just like they're getting massacred. The world is getting massacred right here. The summer mild, pleasant with the just massacred. Dysentery, high fevers. Geez, children died on the 3rd day. Man, harvesting problems. Storm in Holland. Terrible thunder and lightning. Guys, this is like biblical hell on earth going on in all these places. And it's going just year after year after year. Solar and lunar eclipse. Ooh, does that sound familiar, guys? The cold, great snow. Guys, oh my gosh, frogs. No wonder the building sunk. I mean, and no wonder people just were eradicated. Warm and dry, most smooth, okay, chiefly emitted and intermitted the fevers, but chiefly the first they were scarce. And she's like, what happened? But the disease continued, but more tedious. Several diarrheas, or whatever. Winter solstice. So here's the winter solstice came. Inflammatory smallpox again on the winter solstice. And my gosh, guys, look at this. This winter was very cold, much frost and snow. Jeez. And this is 1718. Wow, guys. Jeez, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. In 1718, symptoms, they all continued in the winter with a great frequency than before. Many of them turned to intermittence. Tartarians were very common, all the while their fits were not so regular, or they're okay. After the winter solstice of Berlin, okay, just more diseases, disorders, several others, rheumatic tribes after the, I mean, just it keeps going. Disorders of the lungs and the uterus. Wow, guys. On July 15th, 16th, north wind and rain, more crud. Continued in November 1st. It was uncommonly dry as a whole. Winter was drier and warmer than ordinary. During the heat, the putrid, continual remitted and intermittent fevers still continued, and as the sick were prone to sweat during the heat. So after the sudden cold, there were more disposed to the loosened or the fever rarely. But yeah, 1719, it's still going, guys. Oh my gosh, it is still going. It's still going. I mean, they're just wiping the earth out. Who is it? The ones that are in charge now. Or I should say, whoever they serve, right? Whom do they serve? And the blood was red, is all the blood. But yeah, and want to see there's more. I mean, just contagion after contagion after contagion. We're still in 1719, such cold fits, intermittent. Okay, 1720, the summer of the year of York was very droughty. So yeah. Let's see. The tongue was first white and brown, fits for very long, continued sometimes 40 hours. The urine was muddier and yellower than it was last year, and let it fall larger within sediment, including the yellow sediment fell in their pee. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, gosh, guys, it's like, wow, look, this is, can you imagine living in the 1700s with all this going on? Or you were living in a utopia and then this happens, like, and then, yeah. And it seemed like everybody was affected. The wild beast coming out even at Spain, Spain was one of the attackers, the conquerors and stuff like that. So It's interesting. Smallpox disorders. Let's say 1720. Winter, mostly south wind, very rainy, preceded with the drought. Spring fell pleasantly. I mean, it's they for them to record it and that with like abnormally this, abnormally that, you know what I mean? It's getting pretty freaking crazy. Worm fevers on children, the adults equally. Some terrible, colics from the spasms of the abdominal muscles. Wow, guys, jeez. 21. These people are being just annihilated. And if you've watched our other Quest for Tartaria videos, we have uncovered who the Tartarians were. The Tartarians were the Scythians. The Scythians were the name for the lost tribes of Israel when they were taken by the Assyrians, and they had fought back and became a people. And then you've got like the I have a map of where it shows the capital Tartaria, and it says Scythia right on it. Yeah. But yeah, the all nations were blessed by you, O Israel, is what the Bible had said, and they had done it through the Scythians/Tartarians, and this is the destruction of the lost tribes of Israel, and they're in all of us, guys. They were global. They're in all of us. They liberated Africa, you know, and then, you know, how do you see Africans, you know, living in America, you know, and their presidents before George Washington, you know, because they were part Tartaria liberated them. They became part of Tartaria. You know, they become people people call them like the Moors and stuff. But yeah, they were all part. We were all part. We were all unified, and that's something they don't want us to know. We were all unified, and we were all blessed through Israel. It's all in our blood now, guys. Israel's all in our blood, you know. And now, you know, the New Testament says, you know, you're Israel by spirit. Anybody who accepts Yeshua as the Christ is Israel now, and that's what it says. So, and by blood, it looks like too, guys. So it's kind of a really cool thing if you really think about it. And if you don't believe in the religion part, you know, well, there's pretty. Just go back to my videos; you'll see all the very, very compelling evidence. And right from the horse's mouth, right from the books. More inflaming disease, okay, 1723. Bathing for a cure and all this other still going on, guys, and stuff. And man, mortality rates. 1680 when 310 died. 1715 when 400 died. This year about 700 died. I mean, it's still going, guys. It's still going. This is like the slow game. Every year they're just killing them, you know. Just more stuff, you know. And they tell us things like, oh, you know, they weren't hygienic, and this is why, you know, they weren't taking baths and stuff, and, you know, it's like, yeah, they're highly intelligent, sophisticated, way more intelligent than us. I'm sure they're taking baths. And, I mean, they have fountains for criminy sake. It's all over the place. They even used water to heal, but this thing was different. What happened here was different. And that's what I'm saying. What happened here could have been done by the Antichrist himself. More pusses, more meat, you know, more stuff. Man, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And just painful symptoms, swelling of the face. Guys, look every year. Look at this. 1725, guys. Pains and, oh man. God bless them, guys. Blisters and, you know, what did they do to deserve this? You don't have to actually do anything to deserve this stuff, guys. This is the enemy. You know, they also have their own will, their own free will to do this. You know, they just do it. You know, it's like, man, nothing abated, took off secondary fever. I mean, just goes and goes and goes. 26. Jeez, you know, no wonder. Soft rains and stuff like that. But, you know, so far we're not seeing a mudflood, but we might see some kind of giant earthquake or something like that. Some kind of, you know, finishing attack and stuff like that. Millions of meteors and stuff, right? And then Clear water remains of the... Okay. And this only goes to 1749, so we don't know what happened after that. You know, we also got... But we know that there was a huge meteor strike because of all the craters. But, yeah. Just very cold seasons, young people. Yeah. Wow. Just wow. Wow. And you guys can find this book. I'm going to put it in the description as well. But yeah, I mean, it just tells you right there. So in the Amsterdam, 6 weeks together died 600 a week. Wow. So 13,775. I mean, guys, they're just... London this year was only 28,418. Fewer than last year. Paris, 18,952. Jeez, guys. You know, that about city underneath the Vatican would come in real handy during this, wouldn't it? So, yeah. Some of the ages of the time, gee, criminy. Jeez. North wind, smallpox. Just, oh my gosh, guys. Where are we at? 1727. And it keeps going. It keeps going. Took medicines with vegetable acids and man. So in hot weather, okay. In the hot weather, maniacs were more common than ordinary. The heat and drought increased greatly in the number of the sick and the remittance. So 1727, we're getting maniacs now. Urine is high colored with a cloud. There's no sediment. The brown tongue was brown and dry, old and weak. Wow, people and twitchings and catchings and were, wow, okay, and delirious. Wow, dudes, you see this? Annihilation. So the fall of Tartaria, guys, just done. 1727, weather and diseases being so much alike that there are little room for enlarging without or petitions for which the is never a problem. So it's the same diseases and stuff again. The same diseases attending March, which was changeable. See, like, I mean, they're just, oh my gosh, guys, disease. How many years have we gone? Like, seriously, 17 years and there's still diseases right now? Oh man, just another vomiting in there. Oh my goodness. God save them, man. Look at all this. 28 fevers generally increased. Jeez, wow. Just insanity. In 28, okay, was often delirious. The head was very much affected, especially with the age. They often laid on the, wow, some during the fit, speechless. They died. Such, just more bleeding. And oh my gosh, guys, jeez. All right, here we go. The cold shiver fit. Okay, succeeded with the heat and the violent and the pain in the head, with the frigid high color in the face, a quick pulse, 120 vibrations in a minute or more, neither strong nor high, but hard. No great thirst. The tongue was, and some was dry. Several were delirious and comatose. Also had the pain in the head with fevers in the ear. The sick were bled, vomited if needful, and had cooled. Oh man, here we go. Dude, they just, why isn't this talked about in history class, guy? Kind of a big deal. And if it is, it's because they literally, well, they said the Black Plague is this year. Well, this is way bigger and badder than that. Look at it. Just like, look at it. Man, a little rhubarb, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. 1729. Yeah, just more plagues. You know, he's just sitting there playing the slow game. He's just plaguing them every year and keeping things from growing and this and that. And I'm sure they're growing little bits of stuff, and I'm sure humans are adjusting because we're resilient, but Man, in the end of the disease came a looseness or bloody flux, especially in the vomit and not given the first red spots, malaria pusses, hot and red, great sweats, often terminated in disease, bleeding, except at the very first was seldom. Oh man, this is just crazy. Okay, neck, blood, oh, wow. Man, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. I mean, would we? If this happened to us, would we? Quick question. I mean, is it coming? The next Great Reset? Worms in the stool. I mean, oh. Dude, hell on earth. Hell on earth. Just hell on earth. 1729. It seized all with a flow fever, a flight horror, coughs, hoarseness, pain in the head, the difficulty breathing, which though sounded healthy before, there was no great moment. Wow, jeez. Greatly, oh man. But I thought these people survived the Black Plague, so they're immune to this stuff now, right? In the suburbs of the Taurinium only, okay, in the suburbs of the Augusta Taurinium only, lay inflicted basically 14,000 at Rome, 60,000 at Milan, 50,000. Oh my gosh, it reached Naples in March. So now it's reaching those areas in 1729. Jeez, guys, rains and snows. Rains, heavy. Oh my gosh, man, just the plagues alone are just insanity. Man, jeez. It was about beyond sea. Oh wow, they're just shipping foods in other ways. Corn and stuff. Oh my gosh. Jeez, guys. Blood was inflamed. When your blood is inflamed, you know it's bad. Okay, 1729. Sorry, guys. I know it's not real. Like, I mean, to some who really want to see the destruction, want to see what happened to Tartaria and the destruction, this is very fascinating. But yeah, it's, I'm sorry it's repetitive, but it's really important for the sake of our history, us losing our history as a society and everything else. It's pretty important that we go through it. More rains, guys. Dry weather. 1729. Well, a lot of things are going on in 1729. Looks like it's starting to escalate a little bit. But yeah. Hey, thanks for watching Quest for Tartaria, guys. We really appreciate it. You guys make this possible. We've reached 1,700 subscribers, and yeah, I just thank God that we're getting this information out, that people are learning a lot more. You guys are able to see the real Tartaria, not the fake AI, Tartaria you see in those channels, the fake AI Tartaria. There's Tartarians left to talk to the tree people past the ice wall and all this other crap. It's like, oh my gosh. So yeah, unfortunately those guys get a lot more subscribers than real Tartaria. I don't know if there's any other Tartaria channels personally that have covered all this research and information that I've done. They most of the time people just want to be entertained, and that's the thing. Tartaria is history. It's you just have to know where to look, and by the grace of God, he's revealed it to me. And I'm pretty sure this is the Alexander Gates that were holding the Tartarians in at one point. That's interesting, isn't it? But yeah, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, we're getting the maps, we're getting the information, we're getting the research, we're finding out that Genghis Khan and liberating Africa, exterminating the Egyptians, the fact that Genghis Khan's mom was a Christian. There's just so much. The fact that they owned all of this, and then the parasites came out. It would be really interesting to see if that book talks about that. It may or may not. But somebody told me, well, maybe the world turned against Tartaria. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, that could be the 1,000-year reign of Yeshua, Jesus, and after the 1,000-year reign, the devil's released, and what happens? The people revolt, and they amass an army, the sands of the seashore, in number, even though they've got it good. But good times create weak men, obviously, and good times also create these spoiled, rotten, people that uprise against Jesus, against Yeshua. Isn't that absolutely preposterous? It's just insanity. But it's just the way of the world. We have to be ready. We have to be ready to fight against Apollyon and but yeah, we're getting there, guys, and we're learning about what happened to Tartaria. This is our quest for Tartaria, and we are accomplishing it, guys. And thanks to all you guys. Please like and subscribe. If you made it this far, congratulations. Can you spread the word? Share these videos, the channel. Let people know, hey, Tartaria is real, and I can prove it. And let's get everybody on the bandwagon, because if we don't learn from our history, we're doomed to repeat it. And it's exactly what's happened. Literally, it's exactly what's happened, guys. But yeah, I mean, gosh, look at this map, guys. Look at this. Just look at this map. It's amazing. Just amazing. These buildings and everything just destroyed by everything that we're reading in that book, right? The whole place just destroyed. Not a lot survived the cataclysm of the last reset. But man, but we know who's in charge. And but we also know who's going to win. Alright, guys. Throw us a comment, We'll see you on the next video. I'll get you guys in, part 2 will be coming out soon. It may be already out by the time, you see this video anyway. But, yeah, I definitely watch it in order. Watch it all the way through so you don't miss anything. And, alright, I'll see you guys on the next one.